Welcome to the King of the Court podcast with Ben Riggs and Ben Staten.
The Warriors and the Rockets. Who do you like in this one, man?
Oh, I think this is going to be a bad game, unfortunately. The Warriors are reeling right now. And the reason they're reeling was that they were playing they caught teams off guard by being really deep and playing really fast and had some they were shooting over their heads a lot of positions. I mean, I think Buddy Hield was shooting like 50% plus on like 15 a game at the beginning of the year.
You don't think Buddy Hield's the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history?
I think he's pretty good. I think he might have been.
He's an underrated three-point shooter.
Yeah, but for example, he shot 50% in October, 40% in November, and is shooting 33% in December. Like he's just returning to the mean.
I think 40%, 40% is probably somewhere around where he'll be.
And I think that the bigger discussion with them is that this team, ever since they won the title in 22, the moves they've made have been somewhat perplexing to me. I do understand not wanting to give up too much assets for Lauri Markkanen over the summer. I do understand wanting to be cautious about that, but the player they drew the red line on was Brandon Podziemski. And I watched him last year. Podziemski was good. There was nothing from his play that indicated to me he had all-star potential. That he seemed like a very solid rotation piece. That's what I saw. And and then Kuminga as well. If you're, like those were two pieces they basically drew the red line on. And and I think Markkanen is probably a better fit with this roster than either one of those two. The second piece I don't understand is if you're going to draw the red line in the sand and say, no, we're not getting these players are core pieces, we're not trading them no matter what, you would expect them then to make them like central parts of the roster. Kuminga has been benched. He's not happy. They never really gave him a chance to, he wants something around a max contract. They clearly don't want to give him that, but they also clearly don't want to trade him. So I understand why he's like, well, what are we doing here? And Podziemski, not surprisingly, is having a little bit of a sophomore slump. He's shooting worse. He's shooting poorly, but he averaged 10 points a game or something like that last year, and he's down to 8. This wasn't like a player that was.
The idea that either of those two guys are untouchable in a trade scenario that involves Lauri Markkanen is insane.
It's absolutely insane. And so they had a strength in numbers thing going early on in the year.
And real quick, it's even more insane when you think about the waning years of Steph and Draymond's career and wanting to maximize that. Because the truth is, Lauri Markkanen working off of a player like Draymond Green, who understands the offense and can pass and create open looks for people, like Lauri Markkanen would be amazing in Golden State.
Curry. Let's put the lineup there. Curry. Let's put Wiggins, Markkanen, Green, and either then a 5 or a 2. That's a really good lineup. That's a really, really good lineup. The alternative right now is Curry, Wiggins, Green, Trace Jackson Davis, and then they've just basically had by committee for the 5th starting spot. This team is skidding because they were never as good as they were to begin the year. That was shooting luck. They caught teams off guard. They have both, regressed to the mean, and other teams now know what to expect against them, and know they can't take the foot off the brakes at any point.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
well, they're not underestimating players like Lindy Waters and stuff like that on the floor either.
Yeah. There's also nobody besides Draymond Green and Curry on this roster who is a better than average passer. This, for a Steve Kerr offense which relies on wild passes, like a wild amount of passes, not wild passes. Sometimes when the Warriors get in trouble historically, it's when they get a little out of control.
No, they need high assist numbers.
They need high assist numbers. And, at the beginning of the year, one of the things that was really, advantaging them was for the last 2 years, prior to this one, their turnover numbers were off the charts high. Like what had gone from like being a perfect ballet of passing and ball movement had turned into just oftentimes just pure sloppy pass, so pure sloppy play. Draymond would make bad passes, Curry would make bad passes. You'd see weird plays where the ball would just go out of bounds. They would just the ball would go dribbling out of bounds. They cut down on that at the beginning of the year. That's starting to creep back up, but this team has clear weaknesses. There's no one on the roster who is a good paint scorer. And Curry can get to the hoop, but there's no like Trace Jackson Davis is a pure rim runner, and even that he's a 6'9" center. He's kind of a small on that end. He's not someone I'm going to throw the ball in the paint and be like score. Honestly, the best paint scorer is probably Wiggins, and Wiggins is their small forward.
There's not a reliable volume scorer on this team other than Steph Curry, which means that while he is a good passer, the problem becomes like, I kind of don't need him to be the one passing. I need him to be the one receiving.
Yeah.
And so when Draymond's not on the floor, this roster, and this was true last year, this team does not work without Draymond on the floor.
It does not. And going back to the trade, Kuminga's playing 23 minutes a game, and Podziemski's playing 24 minutes a game, and they're untouchable. They are combining for 21 points in 48 minutes of play. That's not bad, but that's the production you expect from one player over 48 minutes, not two. And this is the same team that's been the case, last couple of years. They win, they'll go on streaks where they shoot well and they win some games, and they lose 5 in a row. Their defense doesn't look good. They get grumpy. None of the players are super happy to be there. It's a team that's very prone to drama, even with Draymond having cut down mostly on the insane fouls. He's had a couple of questionable ones this year, but no Cobra Kai, spinning back fists on Nurkic or anything like that.
So there's some nicks and stuff, like some nicks and bruises they're dealing with to Curry and Draymond. I expect that both of those guys will play in the NBA Cup. I think it goes without saying that if they're not playing, obviously that this isn't even a real game.
Yeah.
But let's assume that they're fully healthy. How do you think they actually match up against the Rockets?
Poorly. The problem with the Rockets against these older teams is the Rockets are incredibly. They play really fast. They are the most athletic team in the league, and they also have someone in the post who can abuse them down low in Sengun. And Sengun's problem is when you get big tall defenders against him, like he can sometimes struggle to finish. But Draymond Green is a great defender. Sengun is going to be able to see above him and score in the paint. I don't doubt that. And he's also
you're taking the Rockets hands down over the Warriors.
I think the Rockets are a better team right now. I think that they are. I mean, they're the number one team in the West, or number two. Just coming off being number one team. I think that this is a 15-point win by the Rockets. And
I first of all, I agree completely that the Rockets are a better team than the Warriors. For the sake of making this interesting, I will disagree with your pick. And what I will say is this. I do think I really like Sengun. I've liked Sengun for a while. If Draymond's on the floor, I can see Draymond being the type of defender who gives Sengun some problems. And really, my concern for the Rockets in this situation, if you put them in a series, I'm taking the Rockets every time.
Yes.
In a single game, you've got some streaky guys on the Rockets team, and you don't have anyone that you can. Steph Curry gets going for Golden State. That can be an avalanche that's really difficult to deal with. If Steph and Buddy Hield get going, they can put up some points. And when you look at the Rockets lineup, you could get a game like you got the other night from Van Vliet. I could also see the Warriors' defense frustrating him to no end. Because while the Warriors have significant problems, I think, on the offensive end, they are a good team defense.
No, they have improved. Now, Kerr's masterclass, honestly, with the Olympics is having apparently zapped the powers of the remaining members of the U.S. national team, who all are having bad beginnings of the year. But like Curry's played well to begin. That they have a good team defense. Draymond, like they got smart younger defenders. That is one of the things they really upgraded with. And like by smart I mean Kyle Anderson looks like he should be a bad defender because he can't really move fast. He is actually a very, very good defender because he's smart, big, and knows how to use his size to just stay in front of someone and not get blown by. I think that the loss of DeAnthony Melton was a big one for them, but because he was an elite perimeter defender, but Moses Moody, good defender. Pajemski, one thing he is decent as defending.
good defender. Yeah.
Looney is a good defender. I think Lindy
Great
Waters, yes, really. I mean, the man's averaging 3.7 offensive rebounds in 15 minutes. That's like Moses Malone level production in terms of offensive rebounding. Kuminga's a decent defender, fouls too much. Moody's a good defender. Gary Payton Jr. Gary Payton II, is a good defender, even though they can insist on playing him at center. Like they have a bunch of guys they can rotate in and out, and they can all play like at high velocity. But
and part of the reason I think like that's the thing though. Like part of the reason I think that in a single game Golden State can win this is because they're good defenders and a good team defense. They move on a string. And you don't really have a lot of elite offensive players. You have guys like Jalen Green who have elite offensive potential, and you can get that on any given night. You've got people like Van Vliet who can get hot and give you 30, 40 points. But by and large, you don't have a lot of elite offensive players on this team. And I could see the Warriors' team defense coupled with hot perimeter shooting from Curry and Buddy Hield. And, Draymond Green has been much improved from 3-point range this year, knocking down some timely corner threes, stuff like that. Once again, I would not take the Warriors over the Rockets in a series. But I will, particularly with a team that has sort of the character and the DNA of the Warriors in a single game, winner take all matchup. And for the sake of making our podcast slightly more interesting, I will take the Warriors over the Rockets.